Alright guys, welcome back to another round of the Dev-astation tournament. It's your boy, Jacob Pearson, coming at you with round 5. Joined today in the commentary booth, my main man, the one, the only, Mr. Classic.
Oh, Jacob, you're far too kind. It's me, Kieran, here with Jacob, and I'm actually honoured to be doing a bit of commentary with you today. One of the absolute top players in the world, Mr. Jacob Pearson, aka Top 8 Jake, as I like to call him.
No one's ever called me before by that name, Kieran, but hey, we'll just roll with it.
Now, we've got a really exciting matchup here, Levia versus Dorinthea.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one for sure. Jason, I believe he's currently undefeated in the Dev-astation tournament, is on Levia against Newsun's Dorinthea, the woman that has stolen many men's hearts. Over the last few months and years of Flesh and Blood, she's been a very popular hero in both competitive and casual play. Able just to come in with that weapon, put a lot of threat down. You really don't want it to hit. Let it get those +1 damage counters. If you leave them alone for too long, it just generates way too much advantage and takes over the game. What do you think Jason's game plan on Levia is here? We really haven't seen that much of Levia in tournament play.
No, actually, Levia to me is one of the most interesting heroes, I feel, out of Monarch. You know, it's got that classic brute theme of relying on 6 power cards. You know, in this case, often banishing them from your graveyard or elsewhere. So I'm actually really interested to see how Jason plays this. I know, you know, we've seen Levia in Sealed before, and often it sort of starts off a little bit slow, and then once you get on a roll in that mid-game, once you've stocked up the graveyard with enough cards, you just kind of rain down all these like numerous really strong, powerful attacks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also a very interesting deck. We see some copies of Nourishing Emptiness, I believe, in Jason's list. Which is a card that benefits from manipulating your graveyard. And there's lots of way of making sure that you're able to banish your entire graveyard playing Levia. It makes like getting those kind of bonuses quite interesting. As well, another card I feel like I need to mention that hasn't really seen a lot of play, I believe, is Tome of Torment. What a card in Levia. You know, when you roll a 6 on... You played a bit of Broke.
I played a bit of Rhino in my time.
Yeah, for sure. And you roll a 6 on the Scabskins, and really it's just a 4 or 5 to you most of the time, isn't it, Kieran?
It is. It's true. Sometimes you can't efficiently use all those unless you've got like a Tome of Fire down in Arsenal, for example.
Yep, and Tome of Torment is kind of this deck's way of getting advantage out of those extra action points when you've already got your go-agains, you've already got your claws. It really gives you that extra punch through, gives you those extra cards to push the damage, and there's really like very little cost to having them as well, as you're able just to discard them to all your effects naturally.
Yeah, so what you're telling me is it's good to roll a 6 on Scabskin Leathers?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, exactly.
This is why we pay these guys the big bucks to give us the insights. And
I know, right?
Now,
who would have thought it?
I'm actually really interested to see Jason's weapon setup here, because it looks like he's presented 2 weapons, which would indicate a Mandible Claws.
Yeah, quite possibly. Or maybe he's doing a bait and switch. Really, that card is going to get shuffled into his deck after presenting. He's going to represent the deck to Newsun. Just fade Newsun out.
Oh, that would be interesting. And...
Oh,
no, it's the Mandible
Claws. Just Mandible Claws. All right.
Okay, now this is cool, because like I say, I really like Levia as a hero. And I'm just really interested to see how this Mandible Claw builds goes, because discarding 6 power cards, of course, that's often more kind of Rhinos thing. You have that built-in Intimidate ability. But clearly with cards like Blood Rush Bellow, which you can also play in Levia, not 100% sure if Jason's playing it, but really allows you to set up these really big turns with cards like Mandible Claw.
Yeah, he is on the full 3 copies of Blood Rush Bellow. Just a very universally powerful card. Just being able to give all your brute attacks +2 for the turn, like we're talking about with the extra action points, or even Dread Screamers, which is a very powerful Shadow Brute card, is a good way of doing it. Newsun here, though, on his first turn, pumping 7 Dominate damage into the face of Jason Chung.
Yeah, so he's coming with the Red Sharpened Steel, giving you a weapon +3. Ironsong Determination gives your weapon +1 power this turn, and Dominate, and that lasts the entire turn. And it looks like he's pitched a blue Ironsong response here, so he does have 2 resources available.
Yep.
That means he will be able to, for example, potentially use the Brave Forge Braces on a second attack, or he can attack again and sort of either bluff or play an attack reaction.
Yeah, for sure. Probably the one card that Jason's really scared of right now is that last card in Newson's hand being a Glint the Quicksilver. Glint would be a hell of a blowout here for Jason, because at the moment, Newson doesn't have any any way of getting go again in that Dawnblade other than cracking his refraction bolters early, which we know can be very detrimental, especially in classic constructed.
Absolutely, and we see an early Art of War here, so we don't have the audio, but it seems like Jason would have chosen +1 defense here.
Yeah.
And now, what is quite interesting to me here is he's banished the Nourishing Emptiness, which, again, I'm sure there's methods to its madness, but it seems like that'd be a good one to hold on to early on, just to take advantage. Oh, okay.
Interesting. Okay, he's got a Guardian of the Shadow Realm in hand. There with the Barkbone Sheriff, he's enough to shut down this big turn. It's very lucky for Jason to have that in his opener. I believe he's only on 3 of those as his only source of defense reactions. So it's very, very powerful to have that on the first turn. Just lines up so nicely against Newson's turn there.
Yeah, so that Guardian of the Shadow Realm here, that's a defense reaction coming for 6.
But he's got the route. The +3, bounce it back. That's alright. I feel like Jason feels pretty happy just to pitch another card and send it down. Newsun just doing this, I think, just to force the 3 damage.
No, but actually here, the Dominate means he can't defend it from hands.
Yeah, because it's got Dominate. Oh, that's beautiful.
So that's coming in for a full 9 damage here. So now, of course, Newsun not able to attack a second time with the Dawnblade. I mean, it didn't have go again, plus he didn't have resources, so there's no point using the refraction bolsters or anything. But I feel like he's going to be very, very happy getting that 9 damage out here.
Yeah, that's absurd. That is disgusting.
And it feels on top of that, he's managed to keep that Guardian of the Shadow Realm out of the graveyard, which means he's preventing Jason from sort of stocking up that graveyard to start getting off these big turns.
Yeah, that guy in the Shadow Realm can be very scary playing against from the Dorinthea side. If Jason's able to manipulate that through his graveyard, play these attacks at banish cards, and then just constantly recycling that Guardian of the Shadow Realm, it can be very, very hard for the warrior player to force through attacks.
And here we go, Scabskin Leathers.
Oh,
it's a 1. Okay, now he does have the Gambler's gloves available.
Yeah, I don't think he cracks it here though. I think he saves this for a later turn. Yep, there we go. He just asks him what. Gambler's gloves is so important as Levia. Just making sure your later turns where you have 5, 10, 15 cards in your banish with Blood Debt, just making sure that you're not rolling a 1 on those turns. Is of optimum importance. It's his first turn. He's happy just to say, look, I'm going to let you have a freebie here, Newsun. Take it away.
I absolutely agree. And we see Newsun here has pitched their blue Out for Blood coming with the Dawnblade, 2 resources available. Now, Jacob, one thing I wanted to ask as well, do you think he potentially, again, for Gambler's Gloves, he was less keen to use it there because he is able to set that Guardian of the Shadow Realm into his arsenal?
Yeah, there's definitely some consideration that comes into that. When you feel like, when you're that safe, you've got a nice arsenal, you don't feel the need to put on that much pressure. I think it definitely eases Jason's mind a little bit. He doesn't feel like he has to be in the driver's seat.
Absolutely. And Newsun plays the Red Stroke of Foresight here. Now that's a 1-cost attack reaction, gives your weapon +3. The reprise effect allows him to draw a card, then place a card from his hand on top or bottom of his deck. Mm-hmm. And he comes in with the red Out for Blood to force out that Guardian of the Shadow Realm here.
Yeah, he just really doesn't want Jason having that sitting in arsenal for his next turn. He's just like, look, I'm gonna trade two for 1. I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. And Newsun, of course, having the spare card to place in arsenal there, so it's not like he was really gaining anything from holding on to that. And it looks to be another route in arsenal.
Ooh, and a glint in hand, and some blues, and a singing Steelblade, I believe. That's a hell of a hand from Newsun. If Jason throws anything in front of that Dawnblade, he's just gonna get blown out to high heaven.
Absolutely, and it looks like, okay, Jason's coming in with the Dread Screamer here.
Oh, nice, getting that Guardian into the banish zone. Fulfilling the Blood Debt for the turn by banishing the 6-power Dread Screamer that was already in his graveyard.
Yes, now it looks like Jason, unless he uses that Barkbone Strapping, does not have available resources here to follow up with something like a Mandible Claw attack.
Yeah, I think he's just happy here, just coming in for 6, just getting the Guardian in the banish zone, just ready for that recycling.
Now, one question I was going to ask you, Jacob, is the Barkbone Strapping. Now, that's the common brute equipment from Welcome to Wraith. Do you have any insight as to why Jason might have chosen this over some options such as like the Fiendish Spring Tunic or even the Carrion Husk, one of the new equipments?
Yeah, so in Levia, Carrion Husk is definitely a powerful option, especially versus Warrior. But I believe Jason's intention wasn't really to run Levia into Dorinthea. I think he was hoping that Newsun was going to choose Katsu here. Just based on the fact that his list doesn't actually play any Carrion Husks in his 80 cards. He's gone with some other sideboard options instead. And Barkbone Strapping actually has a lot of utility in Levia. The ability to get more than 1 resource and get it as a sort of energy pot or better effect from your chest piece, playing Levia, can be hugely powerful on your combo turns. This deck is very resource hungry when it's going off, and every point of resource matters. If you can try and guarantee an extra resource point on those turns, it can lead to 3, 4, 5 extra damage, as opposed to the Tunic, or something like Tunic, where you get 1 extra resource every couple of turns. This deck isn't looking to combo multiple times. It's looking to combo once.
One huge
and
turn.
combo hard.
So one thing is here, we see Newsun come in pitching a blue overpowered attack with Dawnblade. Now, a heads-up play from Jason here, choosing not to defend. So that means that Newsun's Glint the Quicksilver, it does give Dawnblade to go again, but he was not able to draw the card from it in this instance.
Yeah, we see him just come in for 3, having the 1 resource up, the 1 on Tunic, ready for that route.
Yeah, now this is a bit of a scary spot, I feel, for Jason here, because that 1 resource in Dorinthea traditionally represents like a +3 attack reaction, things like Stroke of Foresight, things like Out for Blood that we've seen previously, but also, having the card in hand and Arsenal. We know that there's around an Arsenal. Jason might not necessarily know that, but it's always painful when you defend this for 3 here and then you get blown out by the attack reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy to miss block against Dorinthea. That's really one of the big skills in this game is learning the correct spots and being able to read what your opponent's plays are based on what they blocked on the previous turn, based on their play style and how they've kind of navigated through their turn.
Absolutely. It looks like from Jason's hand, it appears that he may have a Bloodrush Bellow in hand here as well.
Yep. It looks like he's holding an Unmovable, a Shadow of Blasphemous, and that Bloodrush Bellow.
Oh, and the Singing Steelblade.
Yeah, this is backbreaking here.
So the Singing Steelblade, 1 cost attack reaction, gives +1 to your weapon, and the reprise effect allows you to search for an attack reaction from your deck, banish it, and play it this chain link. So we see Newsun. So just going for a damage option here, picking up the red Ironsong response. So this Dawnblade is currently coming in for 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. If he already had another source of go again, interesting option might have been to grab a Twinning Blade. But unfortunately, Newsun doesn't have that, so he just kind of has to push for vanilla damage here.
Absolutely, or maybe an additional resource to look at that Refraction Bolter. So he's really just putting a lot of pressure on. So he's opened up a 13 life lead here, and he's left Jason with a 3-card hand. So I feel like Newsun is going to be somewhat heavy. So who says Scabs can let this roll come out?
Yeah, and it's like a note as well. Newsun's
there we go.
There we go, boys. He's going to pitch that Movable, slam down that Blood Rush. Oh, interesting. All right, he's just going for a Shadow of Blasphemous. He's going to draw and hope not to discard the Immovable. This is a risky play from Jason. He's 50-50 on discarding that Unmovable and not being able to search the Blood Deck card out. Does he get there? Oh, clutched it. That was close.
Yeah, so it looks like he discards the Hungering Slaughterbeast, so it allows him to look for a card for Blood Debt.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really cool thing about Shadow of Blasphemous. So 2-cast 6-power a Shadow Brute card, and you draw and discard a card at random.
Mm-hmm.
If the discard card is 6 power or more, you get to search up a card with Blood Debt and banish it. And here we see that Tome of Torment that you mentioned earlier really coming through as a powerful card.
Yeah, absolutely. He just gets to play it out, draw an extra card. He's also fulfilled the condition for claws, so his claws now have go again. So if he draws a blue off this Tome of Torment, with the depending on what color the Immovable is in Jason's hand, he can go Tome of Torment, use an extra action point, go to 1, then return the Shadow of Blasphemous to his hand as well. Stick that in Arsenal, off to the races.
Okay, so we'll see what Newsun wants to do here. So Newsun does have that big life lead, but against decks like Levia, those big leads can disappear pretty quickly. Yep. So I feel like Newsun may be thinking here, if I don't have the best hand, I may be willing to defend this out and preserve a bit of flexibility for late game. But it looks like he's just going to throw the Refraction Bolters in front of it and take the damage here.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to give Jason the chance to combo, I feel. So he's just going to throw down the Refraction Bolters in front of his attack. He's got that Nourishing Emptiness and a nice singing line, so I feel like he's just going to come in with Dawnblade. If Jason overblocks, then he just gets to follow it up by going Singing, Glint, slam down the Nourishing, say hello to a 5-card hand, and goodbye to Jason's hopes and dreams.
Absolutely, and the thing that I was going to ask here, I feel the defending with the Refraction Bolters feels like a bit of a heads-up play because Shadow Brute, to my knowledge, doesn't have a ton of those on-hit effects. So being able to use up your armor so that when you want to use it in a future turn, you have like maximum flexibility. It doesn't feel like you've wasted the defense on it.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing in Jason's list that Newsun really needs to be worried about here is those Command and Conquers. They're the only real on-hit effect that Jason has. But Command and Conquer is pretty easily blocked with that Scale Cap, Braces, and one card. I don't think Newson's going to complain too much about that. The Refraction Bolters being just the icing on the cake. But I think this is a bit of a heads-up play from Newsun, just saying, look, I'm just going to come at you hard. Doesn't matter what you're going to do with me. I'm just going to slam into you. I'm blocked with those Refraction Bolters. I'm going to use them.
Yeah.
I'm going to punish you.
So it seems like Jason here. So he's pitched the Reckless Swing. So to generate 3 resources, then he comes in with the Mandible Claw. Does have Go again, but he only had 1 resource remaining. So he'd have to pitch that final card from his hand, which we know to be the Unmovable. Mm-hmm. He chooses instead to place it in Arsenal. Mm-hmm. And it looks like he did take 1 damage from Blood Dead at the end of his turn.
Yeah, he took 2 damage, 1 from the Shadow and 1 from Guardian of the Shadow Realm, and 1 from the Dread Screamer.
Right, absolutely.
All right, we see not a very crazy. Oh no! Is that a Blood Rush at the end of that hand? Oh, it is, with a Mutated Mass for pitch and some nice juicy 6 powers.
Ooh,
but that's a turn you want to block.
Now he does have the Unmovable in Arsenal is going to come through very well here. I'm not quite sure what color that Unmovable is, but the combination of that from Arsenal plus something like the Scabskin Leathers does offer some like pretty powerful defending options.
Yep.
But we'll have to see, because of course Newsun here is coming in for 7 with a 7 power Dawnblade, and you have to be very careful if you defend it out for 8 and then they come over the top, and you could be in for a world of pain.
Yep, absolutely. And Newsun almost getting probably baited into playing out his supremacy early. Jason choosing not to put the Guardian of the Shadow Realm into his hand probably makes Newsun think that Jason's on some sort of setup plan, possibly arseling a Blood Rush Bellow or something similar. And then Newson's like, all right, this is my opening, this is my clear path, this is my green light, let's go.
Yeah, so Newsun here with the card in hand, card in Arsenal, 1 resource available. I mean, you'd have to think he'd be feeling pretty confident that this attack is going to get through, but he may be in for a bit of a rude awakening.
Also, something interesting, maybe Newson's intentionally trying to bluff an extra attack reaction, choosing to use the Tunic as before playing an attack reaction, leaving as 1 dedicated resource. He could have left the counter on Tunic and not floated 1, but he really wants Jason to think about that card in his hand, saying, look, I'm definitely going to play something this turn. I'm not going to leave the counters on Tunic. I'm just going to guarantee that I'm playing a card. I'm playing a card. I'm baiting you here.
Yeah, so it looks like Jason's offended with the Scabskin Leathers and the Unmovable. So it looks like that's
blocking for 10. No reprises offline as well. And yeah, that's enough to shut down Newson's turn.
Yeah, and 10 I feel it appears to be really the magic number there, because it protects you for 7 plus the +3 attack reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and with no reprise on, it's very hard for Newsun to push over that. Newsun getting a little bit punished by misusing his Tunic, I feel, on that turn. He does not have that up now for his next turn.
Yeah, and that can be critical, particularly in a very resource-hungry deck like Warrior.
Oh, no! Another one from Jason.
So here we see the importance of the Gambler's Gloves. So saving that for now, which is a much more critical turn than early.
Oh, all right. I like it.
And just like that, this game is potentially flipped around a little bit. So Jason able to defend that last attack with just, pitching 1 card from hand, using the Unmovable from Arsenal, Scabskin Leathers. Now he has 3 cards in hand and 3 action points.
Yeah, and we're probably going to see him pitch that. Interesting. He's just shipping these Blood Rush Bellows to the bottom of his deck. Maybe he's just trying to set up the combos for later in the game.
Now, I'm not sure if that's his deja vu, but it looks like the same play again to me.
Yeah.
Even discarding the same card, the Hungering Slaughter Beast.
But yeah, something interesting to note now, Jason has a double Blood Rush Bellows turn on the bottom of his deck.
One thing is, I suppose he'll have to shuffle after searching that up from the Shadow.
Oh, that's true. That's rough.
But he is saving those Blood Rush Bellows for, in the late game to set up a giant turn, so they are still in the deck. So now we see potentially again
another Tome of Torment. Hey, I told you. What did I say at the beginning of this game, Kieran?
You told me, you roll 6 in the Scabskin and the Tome of Torment comes in very, very strong. Particularly, I'm really loving this toolbox effect. I mean, he has searched for the same card, but, it gives you a lot of options for Shadow of Blessment, I feel.
Absolutely, yeah. With Shadow of the Guardian of the Shadow Realm as well, with that card, is another toolbox card that's very strong against Dorinthea. But yeah, we've seen a lot of ones come out from Jason this game. I think 3 so far.
Yeah, so we've seen Newsun defend for 6 here. And then Jason plays the Tome of Torment, leaving himself with 1 action point remaining. So the Mandible Claws will have go again, as Jason has discarded a 6-power card this turn.
Now, something to note as well, Jason really wants to try and banish the 6-power this turn, just to stop that trickle down of damage from the cards in his Blood Debt. I believe he's got 2 Blood Debt cards still, if I'm not mistaken, one being Dreadscream, the other being the Guardian.
I wonder if, so one option here as well, if Jason has, for example, 2 blue cards, or even just, 2 yellow cards, he would be able to pitch, attack with the Mandible Claw, and then pitch to bring back the Guardian of the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, and then but we see he's got another. Is this deja vu all over again?
So that's, I believe that's a yellow unmovable. So Jason's sort of really weighing up his options, but the thing is here, like you mentioned, that Blood Debt really starts to sort of hurt the longer and longer it sticks around. So I wonder if we might see him consider bringing back that Guardian of the Shadow Realm here, or if he's just sort of content to, perhaps come in for 3 with the Mandible Claw and wait.
Yeah, I think he's going to come in for 3 and just wait. I think he just wants to bait Newsun into just blowing all of his good cards out into the water, and just saying, look, I don't have a defense reaction in my arsenal. My Guardian of the Shadow Realm still in my banner zone. Yeah,
and so he's chosen to leave that in there. And the thing is, I talk about the life lost to Blood Debt, but on top of that, I feel Jason may be thinking, these are quite critical turns here. So he's reduced the lead to 6 life, and Unmovable is very, very powerful, which is completely shutting down a Dorinthea big turn. And now we see the Nourishing Emptiness. Okay. So that looks like, that is a pretty good play from Newsun, but I feel like the Unmovable is going to come through pretty well here.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a little taste of the deja vu action. And Jason's just going to trade 2 cards for Newsun's turn yet again. And then he's got the tempo. He's in the driver's seat.
Yeah, looks like he's got that. Looks like he's a blue card in hand to pitch the Unmovable as well.
But does he have another blue? I think he's got 2 blues there. So yeah, he can follow that up with an Endless Maw as well. Banish some 6 powers from his yard. And then if he gets an extra action point from Scabskins, he can even follow that up with a Claw or something similar.
Yeah, so there was this game where Dorinthea seemed to be, running away with the game a little bit, but Jason on Levia has really clawed this back. Excuse the pun. Okay, so there comes the Immovable to defend out against that. Now, Jason has 3 cards to work with there.
Yeah. I mean, they don't call you Mr. Classic for nothing. The jokes are nothing but classic.
I love it. Okay, so here we see the Endless Maw. Yep. So that's coming for base power 6. It banishes 3 cards from graveyard. If you banish a card with 6 power or more, it gets +3 attack. So Jason, I feel, is really hoping that this is going to come for 9 and force Newsun into a difficult decision.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see why our friend Jason over here didn't go for the player of Rolling Scabskins with Barkbone strapping. Anything that's not a 1 lets him put this Guardian into his hand, reduce his Blood Debt, get a defense reaction in Arsenal. I feel like that might have been an interesting line, but maybe he just wants to guarantee having a 6-power attack and save the Barkbone for later.
Absolutely. One thing to note is he banished, I believe, 3 6-power cards there, and 2 of which I believe had Blood Debt. Yep. So I think it was a Dread Screamer and a Hungering Slaughter Beast.
Oh, it's taken up there for that Doomsday he's just drawn. And yet we see Warrior's Valor's Dawnblade coming in. Newsun pitching Energy Potion, 1 floating, threatening to go up to 9 here. Although I feel our friend, the developer Jason Chung, has a pretty decent block here, throwing 2 cards down and still having the Reckless in case of a Newsun's
And I think that's still that same route in Arsenal from very early on in the game.
Oh.
And I think you're right. At this point, I believe Jason, there's a good chance Jason's a very experienced and very highly skilled player. There's a good chance that he may have actually placed Newsun on this at this point. And he may just feel comfortable, like you mentioned, just defending for 6 with 2 cards here.
Yep.
Now, one thing is, as we mentioned earlier, there are a number of Blood Debt cards starting to stack up now. So Jason, he does have to be conscious of leaving enough cards available to ensure that he can banish one of those.
I feel like it's worth taking the Blood Debt just on this turn because he just gets to go defend for 6. I'm going to attack with my Nourishing Emptiness. I'm going to get this reaction in Arsenal. Or, better yet, he rolls his Scabskins. He gets the Guardian for a bigger defense reaction, one where he doesn't have to discard. One
option is here as well. It looks like he has a... Okay.
Oh, okay. So Jason Chung with the unexpected plays. He wants to go big this turn.
So defending with the Mark of the Beast. Now, is that going to get enough Blood Debt cards into his graveyard for the Doomsday?
Yeah, maybe that's what
Sorry, into this banish zone.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, we see the 3 cards in Jason's hand being a blue Wrecker Romp, Doomsday, and a blue Wrecker.
And here we go. This is an absolutely critical scouting list.
Oh, no! Oh, Jason. You look at him. He just immediately just hand on head.
Oh, no, that's an absolute disaster here. Now, do you think that he may need to use the Ebb and Fold here in order to avoid that Blood Debt?
Yeah, he's probably going to have to banish the Doomsday, I imagine. That's the only shadow.
I know it would have to be the Wrecker
Romp.
Yeah. So he wouldn't draw a cut off that.
Oh. You got to feel for Jason there. That's rough.
Now that is just
rough.
Absolutely disastrous. So he does, of course, play the Doomsday. So that might prove to be a bit of a roadblock and force Newsun to deal with that.
Yeah.
But at this point, Newsun is 9 life ahead.
Yeah, he took too much damage for that. He couldn't roll a 1 there. Rolling a 1 there is just
devastating.
Yep.
So Newsun at this point, because we might start to see this, interesting phase in the game where Newsun can just sort of say, look, I'm just going to ignore that the demon token, the Blasphemous there, and just come straight at you. So look, he's coming for 9 here.
Yep.
Now he knows that Jason, if he doesn't defend, he's at sort of constant risk of just dying to Blood Debt. Whereas if he does defend with too many cards, on the flip side, he needs ways to banish 6-power cards in order to, turn on Levia's hero ability to get rid of that Blood Debt counter.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And he's already used his Ebb and Fold, his one quote-unquote rescue card to save himself from the Blood Debt. Oh, it's not looking good for Jason. Oh, that one. He's got to be sad about that.
Yeah, this is give me flashbacks. I played against Dorinthea and Rhino a few times in my day, and it can be very difficult to deal with when you fall behind a little bit. I think Dorinthea is a deck that's very, very good at keeping up strong pressure in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to keep pressure when your opponent rolls 4 1s on Cascades in a game. How many times has he rolled the dice? I think 7 times, right?
Yeah, I think he's rolled 3 1s, but he cracked the gambles on one of those ones to roll a 6. So it's only been 1s and 6s. Yeah, he lives life to the extreme, Jason.
He's all or nothing.
So he's defending for 6 here, defending with the Boneyard Marauder and the Dread Screamer.
Mm-hmm.
So at this stage, he would be taking 3 damage. And Newsun does have that one resource available, and this Vindale Spring Tunic. So he does have the option to, come back in for a second attack here.
Yeah. I believe it's still Route in his arsenal, right?
I think so. So it looks like he's just going to pass Brody, which seems fine. You get through 3 damage here if Jason doesn't have the defense reaction, and then you can still come back in.
Yeah, I don't think you try and push here. I think you leave this, just say, okay, sweet, I get to hit you for 3. All right, you're going to take it. I'm going to just crack you again. Because he's still going to have 2 floating after this as well. After he deals the damage to Jason, he's going to be able to just pump with braces, pitch the card, attack with Dawnblade, 2 floating, with the counter still on Tunic.
It's just, everything's coming up Newsun at this point.
Oh, man.
We see the Reckless Swing.
Oh, okay.
Discarding the Beast Within. Okay, now this is really bringing back flashbacks for me. So Beast Within, the cool thing here, it's... Okay, so it is going to banish that and put it into his hand. I was going to say the cool thing about discarding Beast Within on your turn is it's another way to turn off that Blood Debt.
For sure. But yeah, that's not going to happen here. But at least Jason gets another card in his hand to block with. He pays 1 life for 3 effectively here, which is very nice. Between Hungry Slaughter Beast and the Scavskin Leathers, he should be able to prevent the second attack. But yeah, he's going to get eaten by Route here.
And that feels like a back-breaking route in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got, now 2 resources available. This attack looks like it is going to hit, and then Newson's able to come back in for 4.
Yeah.
Now, one option here is, do you think he's considering actually not returning a card?
Yeah, it's a definite possibility. If he returns the either of those attacks, he gives Jason the option of cracking the Barkbone Strapping to play the attack to turn off Blood Debt for the turn. Whereas if he does it this way, he gets to come with Dawnblade for 4 and get Jason to dedicate the last card in his hand plus Scabs as the block, and then he's taking a lot of damage from Blood Debt, and he has to ship the turn back to Newsun.
Yeah, so I feel that's one of those rare situations where you might not want to use the reprise, but I mean, again though, it may just be worth it to put the pressure on at this point. So if you return that Dread Scream in a hand, this is coming in for 3 damage, and Newsun has a follow-up attack available for 4 damage.
Yeah.
And he's probably thinking to himself, look, if Jason takes all this, then that's going to drop him down to 6. And that might be a difficult road to come back from.
Yeah, I think he just wants to guarantee the damage here. Just say, look, I'm going to try and make you block as inefficiently as possible. I'm just going to pump with braces, swing with the Dawnblade, come in for 4, force the last piece of your armor and a card from hand. Just leave you with Blasphemous.
Yeah, now this is very difficult for Jason because he has a lot of cards with Blood Debt banished at this stage.
Yeah, it's looking pretty sketchy there for our friend Jason there on Levia. Trying to keep it real in the face of unlimited power of Dawnblade.
Yep.
Just growing.
So that's going to defend for 4, but Jason really needs a way to banish that card.
Yep, so he just gets to attack with Blasphemous. Banishes the 6 power.
Right, of course, yeah.
That's the reason why Blasphemous is so strong.
Of course, I missed that. That's why we got Jacob in here to help me out. When I miss the obvious things, he keeps me in check. So yeah, that does make a lot of sense here to come with that. And I suppose that's another factor of potentially not returning the card with reprisal turn like that you're referring to.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's why they call you Mr. Classic, right? Still stuck in the Welcome to Great Glory days.
One of those people, back in my day, we didn't have this Blood Debt.
What is this banishing cards nonsense?
Okay, so Newsun, I feel very happy to take the damage here. He knows Jason's on 8.
Spicy turn. If Jason can survive a hit here, he's got some spice. We see a Blood Rush Bella, a Beast Within, and a Nourishing Emptiness. He can quite easily just block with the Nourishing here. Possibly even the the Reckless Swing, and instead of the Nourishing. Hope to discard the Nourishing, then just Blood Rush off of Barkbone Strapping to discard that Beast Within.
And is it a Yellow Warrior's Valor that Newson's pitched?
Yeah, it is. So he can only realistically get over for 3.
Okay, so Newsun coming in with the Stroke of Foresight, so he's going to be able to draw and place the card on the top or bottom of his deck. Now, Jason choosing to defend with the Blood Rush Bellow here, so I feel he may sort of see the writing on the wall and say, I might not be able to get off this big turn that I want to.
Yeah. I almost don't want to do that in Jason's seat, just because I feel like at this point, when you're quite far behind on tempo, you're a decent amount behind on life, sometimes you just have to spin the wheel and hope Newsun has nutted him.
Yeah, you just sort of... Sometimes you do need to take a bit of a risk. Again, I feel like Jason, is definitely playing to game plan here, but I know what you mean. Sometimes if you're too far behind, you think, well, what's the worst that could happen? I'm going to lose anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like the amount of pressure that Newson's putting on here, even not blocking this is just correct, just so he doesn't get the reprise. The most he's going to be, he'd need 2 +3s in his hand to kill you.
And look, it's deja vu all over again.
Yep, we see he gets an Endless Maw to his hands. Takes 1, 3, 6, 9 versus... Oh no, yeah. He just fully blocks it.
Yeah, we see. I wonder if Newsun, I feel, might be starting to sweat a little bit, thinking maybe I should have killed that Blasphemous token.
Yeah, it's putting in some serious work here.
So that's coming in for another 6 damage now.
Banishing the Endless Maw in Jason's hand, turning off Blood Debt yet again. Man, this Blasphemous putting in some work. Amazing.
So yeah, I mean... Newson's got to be starting to feel a little bit concerned about how these turns are playing out, because he really needs a big breakthrough turn where he's not just sort of trading 3 cards from his hand for 3 cards from Jason's, and then Jason just says, "Well, thank you very much. Attack with Blasphemous, banish.
Yep.
Let's keep this going."
Absolutely. And when Jason finally gets to playing that card from Arsenal as well, if he manages to get some extra action points with his Scabskins, he can go attack with Blasphemous, crack Barkbone. Hope to return the Shadow, and then if he's got the defense reaction in Arsenal, I think he's definitely on a way to winning this game.
Yeah, now, so Jason really just, showing why he's such a good player here. I feel like...
Being very disciplined.
I feel like I would have lost this game probably 2 or 3 turns ago.
Yeah, definitely. Levia is akin to a few other decks in the format where you have to be extremely disciplined with your what cards you're dedicating to defend with. Just because there's so many moving parts there. I think this Blasphemous though is putting some serious work. Yeah, Newsun just says, "Look, I can't deal with this anymore. I'm just going to say goodbye to it. I'm going to take a turn off."
Now, is this the turn that you feel Jason may have been waiting for? So he's forced Newsun to destroy this, and now he's rubbing his hands. Here we go.
He's rolling.
He's rolling. He's got 4 cards in hand, a card in arsenal.
Is it going to be another 1?
Oh, it's off the table.
Oh my God! No! No, Jason!
That has got to be absolutely devastating here. Is that just... he could just be dead to blood dead on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh no, after playing so patiently and so conservatively there to set up one of these big turns, it just feels,
Oh,
the Fab Gods were not smiling down upon him. Another one.
Jason moves to end his turn. Is it going to be lethal?
It looks like it may have been 6 Blood Deck cards. Oh no.
No.
Oh no, no,
9
no.
Blood Deck cards.
Oh no.
That is it. That is GG's. The one off the Scabskins clinching it for Newsun. Man, that guy must have prayed to Iron Jesus this morning to get those kind of odds.
You could say the light of soul was shining down on Newsun today. I really enjoyed that game. I feel like both players sort of played to their strengths really well. I feel like Jason managed to just sort of absolutely cling on when it seemed like he was about to get blown out. But at the end of the day, you kind of live by the dice roll, die by the dice roll.
Yeah, like what we saw. I just feel so bad for Jason there. That's brutal. Well, actually, no, I don't feel bad for Jason. He's playing Chain and like an OTK style Runeblade deck. You know what? He's the boogeyman. He can take his loss with a grin. I saw that disgusting games that he's had with that deck in the past, and you know what? I'm gonna let Jason take his bad beat here. Hopefully he does that versus me in my next match.
Yeah, and I'll just leave you saying, sometimes you have to live and let die roll.
That's it. Thank you for joining me in the commentary booth, Kieran. It was awesome to have you here and sit down and commentate a match with me. And I look forward to hopefully catching you guys in the next match.
Yeah, can't wait.